So the statue to the Boer War, the South African War, is there, and that's right inside the walls of old Quebec. And now we're going to the outside of the walls of old Quebec, and this is one of the entryways. So now we're heading outside the walls of old Quebec, and just on the other side is a statue of Gandhi. Now it makes sense, that first statue, the South African War, that makes sense that it would be here because men from this area fought in the South African War, and so the statue commemorates them. Why do we have a statue of Gandhi? One of the interesting things to notice is that it's right at the same spot, just on the opposite side of the wall, whereas the statue to the South African War was in English with French added later. This one, on the one side, is only in French, and it says Gandhi, apostle of nonviolence and father of the Indian nation, who remains a model of liberty and democracy. And then you come around the other side here, and it's in Hindi, no English at all. So I think this statue pretty clearly is a response to the statue on the other side. Otherwise it's hard to understand why we would have a statue of Gandhi here. That if the statue on the other side represents the power and the reach of the British Empire and the influence of the British Empire, then this statue represents a response to the British Empire. If that statue on the other side of the wall represents the dominance of English-speaking Britain, this statue represents a response to that, because there's nothing on this statue that I can see that's in English. It's all French on one side, Hindi on the other. Just one thing to notice about it is that it says here that Gandhi was an apostle of nonviolence and the father of the Indian nation, who remains a model of liberty and democracy. And just the one thing to notice is that even if we look back and say that Britain did not live up to its own ideals of democracy and liberty when it came to India, Britain is the country that brought those ideas, more than any other single country. Britain is the country that brought those ideals into the modern world. Had Gandhi never been a student in Britain, had Gandhi never come under the influence of Britain and its educational system, would Gandhi have really even known what those ideas meant, liberty and democracy? And so even though Gandhi took those ideas and turned them against the British and advocated independence of India from the British Empire in the name of democracy, in the name of liberty, the question is, where did he get those ideas in the first place? And I think it's pretty obvious he got those ideas from the British. And so even if we criticize things in the British Empire, that the British did not always live up to their own ideals, at least they enunciated those ideals, and then nationalist leaders like Gandhi were able to take those ideals, to take those ideas and to run with them, and to say, we want democracy too, we want liberty too. And so I think although there's plenty to criticize in the British Empire, there's also plenty to be glad of historically. That even if these ideals aren't lived up to well or perfectly at the outset, the ideals are still enunciated and the effort is put into place to put them into practice. Anyway, on the one side, the statue commemorating the British Empire. On this side, the statue commemorating resistance to the British Empire. This statue is clearly a response to the other. I just don't see any other way of understanding why there would be a statue of Gandhi here in the heart of French-speaking Canada.